Thank you for reminding me. One of the first steps you take on this Advaita style path, and it's a big one, is to disidentify with the body, your body, including you, Veselina. She likes it when I talk to her, mention her in public. So I do it just to make her happy. Because she gets so bothered by so many different things in life. She needs a few moments of being happy. Now, to get rid of your identification with your body and to re-identify with consciousness as a whole, which means the entirety of manifest consciousness, or what Robert calls the Brahman state, and so does Nisargadatta, total manifestation. You grow 1,000,000 times bigger, maybe 1,000,000,000 times bigger. You become the whole observable universe, as opposed to being stuck in a 5'5" or 5'6" solid body that ages and dies. But think about it. Is the person talking to me a body? Or is it that which is awake and responds to my voice, who uses the mechanism of the body to speak to me? Frank, who the fuck are you? Are you your body? Or are you that agency inside that's talking to me?
Much of the time, I want to say I'm the latter, and much of the time, I'm still the body.
Note this, though. You don't have a body until you're aware of the body, which means you're conscious of the body. And you wake up in the morning, you're conscious of your body. You're aware of your body. Matter of fact, the feeling of your body from the inside, that's also in consciousness. The witnessing of your body from the outside as something in a mirror or looking down at your hand or your foot is an awareness that happens in consciousness. Before your body was born, what were you aware of? Does anybody have a memory of that? I don't have a memory of what I had for lunch yesterday, let alone where I was when I was born. It was probably so traumatic, I just shut down. You don't have a body until you're aware of it. So although the body may have been there before you were aware of anything, as a grown-up now with a sense of self, what are you? Are you just a body? Or are you that which talks back to me and responds to my questions and responds to my voice? Are you that feels the energies flowing through you in satsang? Or are you the body? This is the biggest step you have to take is to realize right now that you're the mind, you're the awareness, and not the physical entity, which just acts out what consciousness wants to be acted out. The so-called will is evident in consciousness as wanting to make a choice and thinks it chooses. This all happens in consciousness. Now, Robert would say, Ramana too. So would Nisargadatta. That it's not consciousness as a whole that makes a choice, but that aspect of it, that's the actor, the doer, which is the life force. So you, whoever you are free to observe the body and identify with it, or to realize that your primary nature every day is there something inside of you that responds to questions and the environment in an aware way. One of 10,000 phone calls I get a day from various salespersons. The miracles of modern technology. There's something in you that's aware of me right now. There's something in you that's aware of you right now. That's something, that awareness is you. And it's aware of all that around you, your world. And for a practical purpose, you identify with both the body and consciousness. But deep down inside, there's a big part of you that still identifies with the body. Mainly because the body's present at all times. And it's always reminding consciousness that the body is the house or the host for consciousness. The body is always telling us what it wants in hunger or satisfaction or sleep or to pee or to poo, and wants to be in charge because it accepts that consciousness is a slave to it rather than the other way around. But I want you to know that the person that is you, that is Frank, that is Eddie, or Vijay, or Michael, or Ali Akbar, is a person. You don't consider yourself just a body, you consider yourself a man or a woman, old or young, a student or a worker, having a family or not, having relatives or not. And all this takes place in consciousness, in your mind, and your mind is in consciousness. You're aware of your mind. And in a lot of ways, you identify with your mind, your thoughts and so forth, your beliefs. But taken as a whole, consciousness is separate from the body. It can't exist separate from the body. But it's something separate. It's spirit. It's awareness. And without this spirit or awareness, the body is dead or asleep, dead asleep. So sentience, that's who we treat as us, really. The one who makes decisions, the one who hears, the one who sees. The one who tastes and touches. Sentience. We are sentience. We are aliveness. And aliveness is characterized by consciousness. Do you get that, Vasilina? What was your answer?
No.
Keep trying. Bernadette, are you aware of that?
I think so. It makes a lot of sense. I have an inkling of it anyway.
Jay?
I get flashes of it. I think I share with Bernadette. I have an inkling of it. It still feels rudimentary, but it takes me deeper.
Okay. What about you, Mark? What are you? Who
I
are
am an
you?
energy, a coherent energy system. That's my
What the fuck
primary.
does that mean?
It means my
Boy, that
field of,
sounds intellectual.
okay, my presence, my sense of presence is what I identify with. My the cocoon, the energetic cocoon suffusing throughout and around my body is what I primarily identify with.
Why do you call that full realization?
Well, it's as far as I can go right now, I guess. I'm sure it isn't, but it feels very fulfilling at the moment.
BJ, what are you?
I'm not sure. It feels like body. It feels like this entity. And I understand what you're saying, but it's only the surface level, nothing experiential.
Ian, where are you with this?
Listening to all these other forms outside of myself telling me that what I am that, and it's my decision. That's all.
You am that what?
I am that essence. I am that beingness. I am that beyond the body. I'm not the body.
Yeah, good. See, you've hit on it. You've made the decision.
Yes.
You've accepted my bullshit as truth.
Yes.
And Robert's bullshit as truth.
Yeah.
And Nisargadatta's bullshit as truth.
Because
and Ramana's
just
bullshit as truth.
yes.
And when you can accept that, even intellectually, you're on your way. Because it causes a change inside of you. That you can say, I'm not the body. I refuse to identify myself with the body. Instead, I'm going to take the radical step of identify with feeling, perception, activities, smells, tastes, that which is seen. And I'm going to begin to expand to the furthest reaches of my consciousness, because I'm not just limited to the body, but consciousness that's located in this body has created an observable universe that exists all around me, not just a cocoon around my body, but the totality of space and time that I'm aware of, especially, for example, on a cold winter light night when you're sitting outdoors in a cabin in the mountains, 40 miles from the nearest town, let alone the nearest city. And you look up in the sky, and the sky is a deep black. There are hundreds and thousands of twinkling stars, and they twinkle because of the atmosphere. And they twinkle, and it seems so deep, and they seem so spacious that the space extends forever. And when you make the decision to disidentify with your body, and it wasn't a decision for me, it happened to me many, many, many times, that I lost my body, awareness of the body, and became the universe, became Brahman. But Nisargadatta suggested another way, is to take his guru's words that he's not his body as absolute truth and never deviate from that understanding, to hold that understanding as truth rather than just some random bullshit thrown at you, to accept the concept that you are consciousness, not your body, and to hold on to that so that you can realize in the fullness of time those states where you become one with the totality of consciousness and not just limited to your body, where the experience of the outside world is just as intense and immediate as your experience of your body. Because as now, many of us are limiting ourselves to our bodies because we regard inside the skin as different from outside the skin. But it's all one experience. The limitations of the skin are because of our belief that we're a body. And we've put up an imaginary barrier between what's inside of us and what's outside. What's inside of us is taken care of by doctors and by food and by a bathroom or by being held by another. All these things are about the body. But our consciousness is not limited to our body. Our consciousness stretches to the limits of space and time. When we look up in the sky, we can see galaxies billions of light years away. We can see planets millions of miles away. We can see the sun millions of miles away and the moon 250,000 miles away. All of these are you. Once you make that entrance into the Brahman state, where you become one with the existential universe that you see hear, feel, taste, and touch. Instead of being limited to the body, you become everything. And you want nothing because you feel so great being everything. It's a whole new chapter, a whole new way of living and being limited to the body, to your body. So how do you realize this? Well, you hear it over and over and over again. You hear it in satsang. You read Nisargadatta. You read Robert. You read Ramana. It begins to reinforce itself, and then one day something happens to you. While you're sitting in a chair or in a seat on a train or in an airplane, something happens. It happens instantaneously. You flip, something flips in you. And you're no longer aware of your body. You become aware of everything else around you. Your attention flips to the outside. You're not even aware of the inside anymore. And there's silence. Your mind is absolutely silent until suddenly you're aware that the mind is not there anymore. And the thought comes to you, holy fuck, my mind is gone. That's happened to you, Frank, hasn't it? Happened to most of us. Holy fuck, my mind's gone. Then you realize you broke the silence by saying, holy fuck, the mind is gone. But then you see, hey, it's better to be silent. And you go back to the silence and enjoy it while it lasts. And it can last 3 minutes. It can last 30 minutes. It can last a few hours. Or even a few months. Suddenly, the inside is totally empty. And the outside is where all the activity is and that you're dwelling in. And then you realize what Buddha says, I am all things. Or what he also said upon enlightenment, from the starry sky above to the earth below, only one thing, or I am everything. Take your pick of which quote you select. From the starry sky above to the earth below, only I exist. This is taking an entirely different viewpoint. Most of us believe that there are billions of others just like us that each create our own bubble world. But when you're fully in that bubble world, the Brahman state where you're one with all of consciousness, the body is forgotten and you become the totality of space and time. It's all occurring within you. Now, it's not easy to attain this. Most people struggle for years sitting in silence and quietude, gradually letting the mind ratchet down. But the thing is, after that oneness experience is attained, usually something drags us back into the world of the mundane. And you can call it karma. You can call it habit. You call it mental states or desires. And even after you're enlightened, you realize that your consciousness, you can be drawn back over and over again into such idiotic, mundane things as accepting Trump as your president, accepting this idea that it's a big lie that Biden is president. You can even fall back into that mind state, as one of my students does after his awakening. You can be pulled back. You can be pulled back. And it's almost as if you have to start all over again. The quieting down, the self-observation, the reading of Nisargadatta and Robert. You know, I heard Robert every day, or not every day, 2 or 3 times a week, saying you don't exist. Your mind doesn't exist. Your body is an optical illusion, is like an optical illusion. The world is illusory. And I said, what the hell do you mean? I said that over and over to myself millions of times, it seems. What the hell does he mean? The world is an illusion. The body is an illusion. From the point of view of the Brahman state of identity with all manifestation, from that point of view, your identification with your body is false. It's an illusion. In the Brahman state, your body disappears, and it disappears into the totality, and you're aware of the totality, and the body's no longer visible as separate from that totality. So it disappears. You as a body disappears, and instead you as everything predominates. So I say to you, you may be associated with a body, but to say that you are your body, it's not true. Because every moment of the day, you're acting with what your mind tells you to act, or your habits make you do, or you're choosing in your mind to do. None of that has to do with the body, except if it's a choice made to please the body. When you believe you are the body, most of the things that go on in the mind have something to do with the body, either getting something for it, taking care of it, feeding it, or giving it medication. Do you get it? You're not your bodies. Right now, you're that which is listening to me and hearing me and saying, well, yeah, I hear it. It's a concept. I don't really believe it. And you haven't believed it because You don't understand the concept, I'm not my body. To you, it's just a concept. To those who have made the transition, disidentified with the body and re-identified with consciousness as a whole, they've entered a different world, a different reality, which I call the divine. All that there exists in the divine is consciousness, impressions, sensations, tastes, thoughts, memories, visions. Nothing in consciousness is solid and unchanging. Nothing in consciousness is solid like a mountain. And even a mountain is not changeless, it keeps changing. It keeps changing, just like consciousness, but not as fast. So right now, silently, feel inside of yourself for the emptiness within. Feel that, what Robert called the void, or emptiness inside. And recognize that there's no entity inside of you. That entity that you are is all around you. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you touch, everything you eat, the space above, the earth below, all of that is you. All of that is you. All of that is you. Let's sit silently with that for a few minutes. It's so relaxing to be able to disappear and melt into the infinite, into that world around you. No, you're not a coherent energy system. It's still too localized. Nor are you a medical student in Bulgaria. That's the location of your body and the situation of your body. You are that which is aware of all of that. You are that which is aware of your body, is aware of the world around you. And that can listen to me. Your body doesn't listen to me. You listen to me. The consciousness listens to me. Your ears may hear me physically, but there's something else in you, sentience, life, that makes sense of these words, these sounds, that makes sense of the sounds around you in your world. Yeah, that's a bird chirping. That's water falling. That's rain. That's a puppy in the next room yelping. That's a chair under my butt or my back. My body's back. I feel my body. I see my body. But I am not the body. I'm much bigger than my body. I am awareness itself. I am awareness itself. I am as big as the universe. The body's just one small part of what I am. This is realization of Brahman. This state is the realization of Brahman. It's the first enlightenment. It's rather easy to attain flashes of it by sitting in strong meditation. And for those periods of meditation, you disappear and you become the totality. That happened to me literally thousands of times when I was in practicing Zen. I didn't know what it meant because I kept returning to the ordinary world after every interval of becoming everything. And I wondered which was real. Me limited to the body or me as everything. And I can only tell you that being everything is more real, but it's a state very difficult to stay in. You keep getting dragged back by habit and thinking to limit yourself to the body. And that's why it takes an act of conviction of accepting that truth as another way to get to the permanence of that state.